Hi guys, I am here. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for people to join and sort out my camera, as every time I seem to leave it moves again. Maybe if I go there. Well, I hope everyone's had a nice weekend. I've not really done a lot, to be fair. Well, apart from doing quite a lot of landscape painting this weekend, which has been great. I always love doing something different, and I haven't done landscapes in so long, so it's been yeah, it's been really good. I can't tell if this is the best camera angle or whether I should turn my camera the other direction. I think I might turn the camera the other way. Bear with me 1 minute and see if I can do this without breaking everything. Ah, maybe not. Maybe if I go that way? Does it turn that way? No. Okay, we're going to go back there. It doesn't turn that way. Maybe we should come further down instead. Maybe if we go about there. I bought a new holder for my camera. So the one I normally use is like a big stiff arm one, whereas this one's like on a bendy wire. But to be fair, I don't think it's much better, to be perfectly honest. I think we're probably all right there. I think I should leave it there. I'll curse myself by trying to move it again. If that looks okay, we're just going to go there. As long as everybody can see, we're fine. Okay, so what we're doing today is continuing on with the portrait that I started, I think it was Thursday. Oh, hang on, passcode. Yeah, so this weekend I've been doing quite a lot of portraits, which is not something that I always do on the iPad. But I've seen quite a lot of other people do it, and they've looked really, really cool. So I thought, actually, I want to have a go at that. So I'll show you, actually. So I'm having to prop my iPad up because I normally draw like this, but I'm aware you don't get a very good view when I have it like fully up. So I did this one earlier on today. If you are interested on how I do these, I actually always record the videos. So sometimes you'll have a video from the position you're looking at now, where you'll see my hand and you'll see all the different things that I'm using on the screen. So there is one of this up at the moment on my own page. So you can get... Oh, hi, Misty. I want to buy your new hardback. You should buy my new hardback. Actually, I really love it. The paper's really good in it. I think the hardback makes a big difference. Let's say hello to everybody quickly. We've got Rose, Charlotte and Misty. Thank you for coming over and dropping by. So yeah, so if you wanted to see how I draw these or any of the digital paintings I'll be putting up lately, you'll get ones from your camera point of view right now, where you'll see my hand and you'll see all the different things that I'm pushing on the screen. Or, because I don't always record them like that, there is a handy thing on an iPad, especially on the program in PROCREATE. So these are all the layers. I briefly discussed layers on Thursday. This is the landscape I did today, and PROCREATE is brilliant for being able to keep all the data that you've done. So what it actually does, it records everything that you do. So that was me getting the shape of the apple. And then from that point forward, it shows everything that I did to draw or paint, whatever it is. But what you don't see is all the tools. So you can't see me doing it. It literally records my screen, which I still think makes really cool videos. So I add these to quite a lot. They'll be on my TikTok. They'll be on my Instagram. I do post them to Facebook. But I think Instagram and TikTok are built much better for videos. Facebook is more of a talking place, I feel like, we talk and we post and we have conversations, but visually Instagram and TikTok, they're definitely, I think, the best place to be. So I do have TikTok and Instagram accounts. Everything, you'll always usually find me either underneath like Kelly Horton Art, Kelly Artist Horton. It's always that kind of combination. So yeah, they're the landscapes, sorry. I did that one last night. My absolute favourite. I do love Harry Potter. And these were just some of the simple ones that I started off with, because I wasn't sure whether or not I would like doing landscapes on my iPad. So it's only been this weekend really that I've really tried, and I've decided, yes, I love it. So I will definitely be doing it more. So let's have a look at what we were doing. Where are we? Where are we? Here. Yeah. So this is where we got up to at the last class. I'm sure. I think I did that afterward. So if you remember, I found this green colour that I liked. So I decided I wanted to use that somewhere in the picture, and I decided the best place was probably her hair. So I don't know why you're there. Let's get rid of you. And we'll go from here. So I'd picked up this green, and I'm going to continue with the picture. We've done the skin and the eyes, and we're going to carry on and do the hair now. So I've already laid the flat colour down, and I would have used the round brush, and I usually smudge with the round brush as well. And what I also did for this painting, when I actually drew it, not all of it, the hands and details at the front are not, but it's actually a symmetrical face drawing, which makes it a lot easier when we're colouring in digitally, because what we do on one side can appear on the other side. So I've done the same with the hair, and I'm actually going to clean that up because we're going to need to have that as clean as possible, because it is one of the top layers. Sometimes if it's something to do with the bottom layers, we can generally get away with not having it tidy because we'll paint over the top. But this will be a top layer. So let me double check, am I on? Yeah, my assisted drawing's on, which means that what I'm doing on one side will appear on the other side. And as it's symmetrical, it should be perfect on both sides. I just know that when I draw things, even if it started off symmetrical, I may have added details. I don't normally leave things like that. Symmetrical faces are apparently supposed to be the most pleasing of all, but I don't usually leave them like that. I'll add extra details afterwards so they don't blatantly look symmetrical. So all I'm doing is using the eraser tool at the top. What I'll do is I'll do a quick roundup actually, because obviously it might be different people watching me this time than last time. So I know what we should do. Shall we have a quick look at the video so you can catch up with everything that I did last time? Let's have a look and see what's going on. You have to seriously ignore some of the bad things I was drawing. Okay, so we'll get about here. So obviously we started off with the white page, and then I started to colour the skin tones. We added the shadows in all the areas on the face where there should be shadow. And then I added a blush colour. I think I decided that was too dark. I think I went a little bit lighter. I changed the overall skin tone here by using that exact blush colour so that they would all get to the stage where they have similar values. You can't have, for example, yellow toned skin with dark blush. It doesn't work. So I tend to put a layer over the top of everything to bring it to the same kind of level. We then added all the highlights down to the fingers as well, all over the face where we'd need it. I then did the lips in the same way by always going in with a base colour. I then go with a shadow and then with a highlight, blend that all together, and then sometimes I repeat that because it tends to get a bit faded when you blend things, so then I just repeat it over the top. And then finally we went on to her eyes, and then that was me. I've just added the hair and went around the outside with the eraser to keep it clean. So let's try and just tidy up a few things. I told you I don't always keep things symmetrical. So if you can see here, I will never have kept it perfect because, I don't know, I just like to have things a bit different, I suppose. No wonder it's coming out green. I'm actually using green. So all I'm doing is just cleaning up these lines because we're going to need them to be clean now for all the extra layers that are going to go on top. If you have any questions whilst I'm doing it, drop a comment. I do check in on the comments, so I will try and get you an answer. If there's something you want to know how to do, if you see me do something or you just don't know, again, put it in the comments and I'll show you the best way that I would think of doing it. So I've been using PROCREATE now for a long time. How long do I think? My first colouring book was digital, but I don't think it was PROCREATE. I think it was on that old Wacom tablet that I had, which was just shocking. Because before the Darlings, I just did portrait books. But then I think we all kind of caught on to this. Oh, portraits is not being represented in the colouring world. And then at the same time, probably like 10 or 15 of us artists all realised. And then that meant that colouring books with portraits in were absolutely everywhere. And that's why I changed, because I just thought the market is being flooded with all of these portrait books. But that's not to say they weren't skilled, because they were. Many of the portrait colouring book artists out there are absolutely brilliant. I just didn't want to be kind of like in the same camp. I wanted to do something different. That was my point in the beginning. That's why I wanted to do the portraits. So then I changed over to the little Darlings, which took quite a long time for me to work out what on earth I was going to do with them. But yeah, once I found PROCREATE, the little Darlings kind of was born then. And I think it's the same with everything. When you get something, you're going to have to continue to practice it and practice it and practice it. You'll never be good straight away. So if you do decide to try digital drawing in any way, shape or form, you definitely have to remember that you do have to practice. It does not come easily. Okay, so now I've got the base down for her hair, and I've obviously done her eyebrows as well. What I'm going to do next is, I'll turn assisted on as well because that'll help for a while. I'm going to alpha lock this layer, and if you remember, if I can find it there, what alpha lock means. Alpha lock means that no matter what I do on the whole page, it will only appear on her hair. So you can see it's only here, it's not here. So alpha lock is perfect if you want to either do things quite quickly or make sure that you contain anything that you're doing to that layer, to that particular area. It won't go anywhere else. And if you've got loads of detail and a really detailed drawing, it's just so easy and so good to help you keep it contained to that area. So I am going to have alpha lock on because I only want to do the eyebrows and the hair. I'm going to select my layer because I'm going to move to a layer up. I don't want to put it all on the same layer just in case I don't like it. So I'm going to start off with the shadows, come back, pick up my original colour, open up my colour wheel. So this is the base colour that I have down at the moment, and now I want some shadows up. So I'm going to drag my colour picker down so that I can get a darker colour. The reason why I don't go in any other direction is because I want the shade of colour to get darker and lighter, but I want the value to be the same. So I don't want it to be, let me just do it. So to me, that's actually a really nice colour. but they don't flow. I want them to be in the same value range. I want them to kind of flow together. So I'm going to keep, I've picked this up using this here. This button here is my colour picker. So I've picked up my colour, open my colour wheel, and then I'm going to drag down so I can get a darker shade of that green. And then what I'm going to do, because I've got my layer selected and it's alpha locked, I do not need to worry about being overly careful at the moment. And I am just going to go in and add the shadows to the areas that I think the most shadow part of the hair would be. So it's kind of the same process. I'm going to go in, it's the same as well when I'm doing it with pencils or marker pens. This is how I do it. So I'm looking at around the face, around the body, definitely around, I'm going to have to turn off my drawing assist now. So definitely around these sleeves at the bottom. And then I'm thinking, we'll just drag it out slightly. Turn that back on. And then I'm going to focus just on some of the areas where it should be darker because of the way that the hair's moved. So let's go across the bottom, bring it up, and that will have happened on both sides. Maybe around the earrings. And get a bit of a shade there. Bring it back up. So that is really loosely down. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go a couple of shades darker. So I've just dragged my colour back down again, and I'm going to go over the top. But if you can see, this was my original shade colour, so I'm putting it into like the corner, into the nearest to the line, so that we have the shadow immediately there. And then bring it round, and it'll blend out to my other colour. Oh, I pushed the back button. And then across the bottom again, underneath. Now, depending on which program you're using, PROCREATE works with pressure. So I don't think I can show it very well here. So even though this is a darker shade, if I put hardly any pressure on, you can see I'm putting more and more pressure on till eventually you get the darkest shade. So the one thing that's really good with PROCREATE is it really is sensitive to the way that you draw. It is not a literal point and click. It doesn't work like that. It's not a point and fill either. You can do that. You can fill areas, but you'll never get shade or dimension. These things you really do have to learn and put into practice. But there are so many videos on YouTube that do teach this sort of thing. And I mean, even I'm actually struggling at the moment to do mountains. I've been doing mountains for my landscape, and it's perfect when they're in the distance and they can be a bit fuzzy and a bit misty. But off the top of my head, I cannot kind of fathom how I'm going to do a more detailed mountain. So it's mentally on my list. I always watch videos when I go to bed. So tonight, when I go to bed, I always give myself an hour in bed just to basically sit there and either lie there and watch TikTok or watch YouTube. So I will be tonight looking up how to do mountains. So I'm backing this up because I forgot to tell you what I'm doing. So we're going to blend these layers out firstly as the darkest shadow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to bring it down, and then we'll blend rather than the other way. So if I bring this layer down, so I am going to combine down. Oh, wrong one. Merge down, sorry. So now that it's all on the same layer, so my shadow and my base colour are now all on the same layer, so I can blend them together. So I already have them on alpha lock, so they can't go off around the page. They're going to stay there even when I blend them. So I also have drawing assist on at the moment because it's still symmetrical. So I'll go in on one side so you can get some more detail of how I'm going to do this. This is my blending tool here. It's the same as my paint tool. The opacity is right the way down, and I'm going to go about there, I think. And then all I'm going to do is just drag my colours out so that it goes from the darkest, and it almost, well, it should blend right out to my base colour. So I'm just pulling it out and blending it round. That tapping, if you can hear it in the background, I'm in the cabin, and my duck Albie, who is the naughty one, has realised I have a cat flap in the cabin door. So obviously that is for the cat and it's not for Albie, but he has decided he's worked that out, and now he sits outside tapping on the cat door until I get up and give him some attention, which he's not going to get right now. So can you hear him? Just tapping away at the door. He can't fit through the cat flap, obviously, he's far too big for that. He just seems to think if he stands there long enough tapping on it, I'll give him some attention, or I'll get up and tell him off or something. So I'm blending all of this out, and what I'm thinking as I'm doing it is I'm thinking about how hair would look. Now at the moment, because it's the base layer being blended out, there's not a lot of texture. We will add the texture. If you can see it here, you can actually see when the paintbrush drags the colour out, you do get this texture, and that texture is something that we'll be working towards the more layers that we put down. So I'm going to keep on going. That dog. He's so naughty. Albie! Now he's out there quacking. You can't do anything in my house without being interrupted. It's either the kids or the animals. Right, okay, so I've done this side, but I know that this side is not symmetrical, so I'm going to turn off my drawing assist because it's just this area here that will need adjusting. So what I'm going to do is add more shadow, and then I'm actually going to drag it back so we can have a little bit more light there rather than just shadow. And just drag it round. So that is the base there. I am happy with that. And I'm going to turn my drawing assist back on, and I'm just going to blend the eyebrows out a little bit there. What I tend to do with the eyebrows is I like to think of it as when you do makeup, really. So when you put your eyebrows on, you tend to go darker with your eyebrow pencil toward the end. So I'll eventually bring this up and make it lighter. So that's the shadow done there. I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to think about where we're going to put all of our highlights. So I am going to select my layer again and come up one, and then come back to my base colour. It would be a lot easier to go from. So there's my base colour. Open up my colour wheel, and now I'm going to come up rather than down, and I do try to keep it so I stay in that line. And what we're going to do now is add this and put some highlighters down. So again, I will be thinking about texture, but it's not a massive deal just yet, because we will add more texture as like the final piece to make sure that it, oh hang on a minute, oh no, sorry, I forgot, I want to go on drawing assist. There you go. Makes our lives a lot faster. Just remember, this drawing assist as symmetry will only work if the picture that you've created is exactly symmetrical. So let's add where we think the lightest parts will be. If we think when a hair moves, if you're looking at this from if you act as if you're the light bulb, so you're looking at this as you're colouring it, you are the light bulb at the moment, because we haven't said where any of the light source is. We can change our light sources as it goes on. So I'm the light bulb, and if I'm looking directly at this painting, or if this was a real person, these bits where it's going to curl and the bits that come forward are going to have the highlights on. So I don't know what that mark was. Let's get rid of that. So we're looking at the places where it's going to curl outward, curl inward. The inwards will be dark, the outwards would be lighter. That's as simple as it is, really. Let's come a bit further down here. Oh, sorry, I wobbled the camera. Even in these tiniest little pieces here and here. So I'm going to drop that layer down now, because I'm happy with that. Pick up my blend tool. I'm still selected and I'm still alpha locked. So nothing I can do will appear anywhere else. I'm not going to spread it anywhere. It's all locked into that position. And now I am going to blend out the highlights. And I'll come back to this side again so you can see it in more detail. This time, because we're on the same layer, we have 3 colours on here. We have the base layer, we have the shadow layer, and we have the highlight. So we're not going to blend the highlight over the hair. It's not on an upper layer, it's in with the hair. So now we're going to blend them back and forth. So we want all 3 colours to blend in, not just blend one out. And what I mean by this is I'm going to blend that way, then blend that way, blend that way, and then come back and then blend that way, and do the same that way and then that way. So we're starting to build up this texture. We have this texture and what appears to be hair strands at the moment being picked up here. So it's not a completely flat colour. And that's what we do as we work our way all the way around. We're going to blend the highlighter out and then blend the shadow over the top, and we're going to go back and forth between the colours. There are tools on here that are made for making your life a lot easier when it comes to things like this. So there actually is a hair tool, which I will use. I'm happy to use that. It's not a problem. But I think that it's a good thing to add, not something that you should really rely on. Because ultimately what I'm doing now, and you can do with marker pens and you can do with pencils. So I still work in the theory along the lines of this is what I would do regardless of whether or not I have the Apple pencil in my hand or I have Prismacolors in my hand. This is what I do. Whereas if you just start getting used to using tools that are only available digital wise, only on Procreate or only on like Photoshop, then you're losing a little bit of the process. Whereas if you're watching this now and you don't have an iPad, I would say honestly that you could go away and do this with pencils. It takes you a lot longer. I mean, honestly, I know I spend so long when I'm colouring with pencils. It takes absolutely ages. This is very fast in comparison, which is probably why I like it so much. And of course, because I just make mistakes every 5 seconds and I can just erase them here. So I'm literally just going out and then back down again. Blending those colours back and forth. And then back out and back down. And we do that basically. And the one thing to remember as well, I haven't said it, but I'm sure most of you do know, is that I'm going with the shape of the hair. So this is going that direction, so that's the direction I'm going to blend it. I wouldn't, you know, just start, you can't blend like that because you're thinking about how the hair is moving. So if we're going to go from root to tip, we are going to follow the shape of the hair from root to tip, which is exactly what you do with pencils and marker pens. Let's pull that down a little bit and then go backward, back up again, and then back down again. And then I'll go a little bit smaller so I can make more defined lines, if you can see them here. So from my end, I can't see how many people are in the live class at all. I can't really see from here. Having a quick look. Yeah, so I have no problems at all if you guys want to talk whilst I'm going. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, talk in the chat. I don't expect people to sit there quiet and watch me the whole time. If you guys want to talk about something or have any questions somebody else might be able to answer, whatever you want really, just yeah, you don't have to sit there silently. I've got no problems with that. So I'm just doing back and forth with that highlight there. There you go. Just getting that nice and clean. And then if you remember here, because it's not symmetrical down here, we're just going to fix this bit. Doing the same thing. Going back and forth. There you go. So that's the basic shading when it comes to doing it digitally with hair. With her eyebrows, all I'm going to do is blend them slightly out. So there's no lines. And we can add strokes and more details a bit further in. So the last thing that I want to do with her hair, you can already see that I've built up some texture. You can see that by doing what I've just done. So I'm going to add a little bit extra texture using the hairbrush. But again, I do think the best way to use this is not to rely upon it. I do think that you could have achieved the texture that I've just done, and then you use that as kind of like a touch-up at the end. You don't have to worry about being, you know, really over the top with it being perfect. So I'm going to go on another layer because I don't know whether I'm going to mess this one up. So I'm going to put my drawing mask back on. And there, and it's already got the clipping mask on, so it's not going to go anywhere. Oh, hi Heather, I've got an Apple pencil. Oh yeah, that's brilliant. I absolutely love Procreate. It's the best program ever, I swear. I don't work for them and they don't pay me any money, but I absolutely love them. Okay, so we have the short hair. All these brushes, by the way, that you're seeing, I've made a lot at the bottom. I make my own brushes, so down to maybe here, this lot up the top, all come with Procreate. So you'll have all these things, and I think Procreate's only about £5, so it's not expensive at all. What I'm going to do is add some extra texture to this hair, depending on whether or not I like. That's okay. I think we should go a bit brighter. Yeah, I mean, that's all right. If you can see all it, oh, I don't like it. No, we're going to clear that. Let's have a look at that brush. I'm not liking it. Why isn't it very bendy? Ugh. Maybe go smaller. I don't like it. Well, I suppose it's alright. This is my problem. I've lost it. Touch-ups. There. Maybe if I pull it out a little bit. Maybe it needs 2 colours. Or maybe I just need to stop being such a perfectionist. That's probably one of the reasons why. Let's come in on some of these lighter parts. Like that. Let's go here. See, I don't like it. It does things I don't like, though. It feels like I've spent so long making it the way I want it. And that's the problem with using brushes, though, that are made for a purpose and you've not created it as such. So they're not one brush fit all. Some people might absolutely love this brush, whereas I find it quite annoying because it doesn't do exactly what I want it to do. And it's probably just a me problem rather than an anybody else problem. But it does look good when you pull it back. There you go. That does look good, to be fair. The colours are quite nice. I think I'm just too picky, maybe. I don't know. I just like things done my way. Okay, right. So I'm going to leave that as it is for now, because we can add more texture later on. I'm going to drop my layers down. So now my hair is fully on this one layer. So that is the hair done for now. Although I've just spotted something different. Let's go back into painting. Turn my alpha lock off. And I've just spotted there's a tiny little bit of white in this corner. Let's correct that. Oh, why won't, oh. It's got alpha lock on. There you go. And is it the same on this side? There you go. Right, so I'm going to alpha lock that back into place to make sure that no matter what I do, even if I do a background, it's not going to affect anything on the screen. So now we have to just make a decision about the colours that we go forward. I definitely think we need to have a yellow. I think her jewellery should be yellow. And I actually think it'd be quite nice with a yellow orb, actually. So what we can do is have a look at Harmony colours here. So the colour I'm on at the moment, it was our darkest green. It's saying that this colour, let's come up to a layer. It's saying that this colour, it's very dark. I can't even think about what colour that is. It's a nice colour, but it's dark. That's probably because we're on our darkest green. Let's move to, let's pick up another green that we've got on the page, this one, and have a look at Harmony again. So it's saying these will be the colours that go with our greens. And then I think if we, let's have a look at any of the yellows. If we add some yellow in. No, the yellows definitely need to be brighter than that. So we don't like them too. Let's pick a yellow. Maybe that one. And then we can go brighter if we need to. Maybe a bit of orange. Let's put our green in so we can see the greens we've got as well. So this is what I do to make a colour palette, basically. So I'm thinking if we go with help me, what colours are you thinking? What background colour do you think we should go for? Give me some suggestions, please, in the comments and let me know what you think. I think the orb would look nice, yellow or orangey, because it could really, really glow nice from that position there. But if the clothes are a purple colour and the hair is green, we're going to need to find another colour for the background. It can't be green or these purples because they'll be in direct contact with them. Maybe the background could be different shades of yellows and oranges. I don't know. Right, I'm going to do, while we think about it, I'm going to do the headdress and the clothes in these purple colours. So let me open some more layers to work on, and let's just transfer down. Actually no, we'll leave that up there. Let's put that into the top corner so we can always see our colour palette at the moment, and then we can just decide how that goes. So I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to do the robes kind of thing that she's wearing first, and I'm going to go in with the darkest because then I can build it up from that point. So we can just go straight in, and if we go underneath her skin, so when I'm talking about layers and I'm talking about where we should go back or forth, Kyle, a teal blue. Should we have a look? Let's go. Actually, Kyle, that might work. If we... Oh, look, that might work. Go there, maybe. Oof. Oh, I think you did it. Look, it goes. Well done. Okay, so that's what we're doing then. I would never normally go with like a natural grass green and teals, but do you know what? I think you've got it. I think that works. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. Right, so I'm going to do the robes. And what I do when I'm going to pick where my layers need to be, I'm thinking in terms of on the picture, what's forward and what's backward. So although her skin is all on one layer, her hands are right at the front of the picture. So her hands are further out, her clothes are back, and then she's behind that. Try and think of terms of 3D. So if I, for example, let's move that up again, merge that down, and then they're all on one layer. If I did her clothes from this layer here, we're going to go over everything. So if I move her clothes down here, this is what I mean about who's in front and who's behind. So it's 3D right now because I've just shown you where the different levels are. So that's where your layers sit. Your layers will sit in different places, because if you think of the top of the layers here being at the front and this being at the back, you work your way forward on a painting. So we can clear that and pick up that purple. It's like an aubergine type purple, and then come in and fill the area, which is quite easy because there's not a lot of area to fill. And it doesn't matter if I go over behind the hair because you can't see it because that's at the back. And then we might as well clean this up straight away because there's not a lot of area to worry about. Get all of this nice and clean. I don't know about you guys, but I normally listen to music. When I'm in the cabin, I always listen to music when I'm drawing or painting. If I'm in the house, I get the nice big corner part of the sofa so that I can sit right in the corner and like paint on my iPad. Then I'm usually watching movies. So, no, I forgot, look. I have to remember that this is not symmetrical anymore. So yeah, it's a bit odd to have absolutely no music on while I'm down here. But I think if I put music on in the background, it might be a bit too overpowering. Okay, so let's just clean up the skin a little bit. Just where it overlaps slightly onto the clothes. There you go. Right, cool. We're done. So come back down to my layer where the clothes are. I am going to alpha lock that into position. And I like to have a bit of a space between all of my layers. So I've alpha locked that in, and I'm going to go a layer above, but I am going to select it to make sure I only draw on that layer. And what we're going to do is add some highlights and shadows the same way I do with absolutely everything. No matter what you colour in, it should have at least, definitely at least 3 shades of colour. So we will have this colour up here we found as our lightest colour. Oh, hang on, does it go though? Is it in a line? Oh yeah, it does actually. I did quite well. Let's find our middle colour. The texture on clothes is different to hair, so I'm not going to worry about needing to have a certain amount of texture to it at first. I am just going to get the colours down. Now when I'm doing this, what I'm thinking of, when I colour traditionally, I always like to have, and when I teach colouring, I always teach something called darkest on the line, because it helps to give a bit of perspective, and it helps things look 3D. So I'm doing the same process here. So I'm leaving the darkest colour and a gap all the way around it, and I'm going in with the next colour that I have. But it's not as simple as that, because we need to also consider shadows, because shadows are real and we have to put them in the correct places. So I know that this, even this kind of aubergine colour, is not dark enough for the hands. So I'm going to add in kind of like the artificial colours of my top, and then I'm going to adjust it to the environment that it's sitting in. And it may sound complicated, and it's not. I'll show you what I mean. It sounds more complicated because I just can't seem to explain everything easy. So let's have that in. This was going to be my mid colour, but it is a bright colour. But maybe we can still add a bit higher as well. So that's down, and what I'm going to do is blend that. So I'm going to drop that down, merge down, and then blend it with my painting, my round brush again. And then I'm going to be quite soft on it and just blend it out so that there's no harsh lines, because I'm going to go in and add more shadows anyway. So this is quite quick really. I'm just blending it out so it's all one piece of fabric. I will be adding the creases and the details that should be there. It will be the next thing that I do. So let's just, so you can see there I've created, you know, apart from the line that's already there, but with the colours I'm creating like these folds, which is something that we need to consider when we're dealing with things like fabric. This up the top here can be quite flat because it is flat. And then we're going to come down again. And then let's drag that fold down and then pull it back up. So we have a darker fold there. And then we can pull this side out. Bring that right up. pull this side out, and then we can create another fold. Let's drag it back in, and we're going to go up there. And then just blend my corners off. So I've created this fold here with the material. So yes, we are blending, and we did blend the hair, but it's a completely different blend. And I like that side so much. I'm going to make this one a bit harder. So let's bring that up a little bit higher. And then let's bring this side round. Drag it all the way round. And create that new fold there. So you can definitely see the difference between the materials and the texture. It's all very similar processes, but the difference between blending well is different to blending effectively. And to be honest with you, most of the time, I think the easiest way to work these things out is practice. I've never looked up how to blend fabric, but when we sit down and we actually think about things and we don't just go ahead and do it, we'll solve a lot of the problems ourselves. When I was teaching art at college, I took a class, and it was always the first lesson I ever taught when I was teaching, and my first lesson always was a still life, and everybody would groan. They don't like doing still lifes. They don't want to look at them. They're boring. So I'd set up a still life in the centre of the table, and I would pass out all the pens, all the pencils, whatever they wanted, and I would give them 20 minutes to draw me what's in front of them. And I can guarantee that the first thing they did was look at what's in front of them and then look down. And the most people there, and in every single class, very, very rarely bothered to look up again. The whole point of my class was that drawing, and this includes colouring, is 90%. Sorry, it's 10%. The actual drawing of it is 10%. The looking of it is the 90%. If you're not looking at what you're supposed to be doing, it'll never look the same. And the amount of people that would give me literally a bog standard teapot, and yet I didn't put that in front of them. I deliberately chose items that were unusual, but because it was a teapot, their brain said it's a teapot, so they would draw me a teapot. And it looked nothing like the thing in front of them. So even when you're working digitally, if you're thinking, why doesn't that look right? And you think maybe my fabric looks a bit odd, literally get some fabric. Get some fabric, use your jumper, use your t-shirt, whatever it is you need to use, and actually look at what happens when you fold it. Because that is... Why did you go like a white colour? That is one of the biggest things, is that people tend to just draw what they think it looks like, not draw what it actually looks like. And I think the same goes with colouring. So we've got some really nice folds going on down here now. Yeah, Heather, I agree. You definitely need to have references. I think when I first started to draw, I would use references for everything. I don't know what a lion looks like. And the amount of people that told me, but you're not a real artist because you can't do it from your head. Well, to be perfectly honest, nobody can do it from their head. I don't care what they say. Nobody can draw a perfect lion off the top of their head without looking at a reference of a lion. And if they tell you they can do it, well, I don't believe them at all. How do we know what anything looks like until we get a reference, or until it's sat in front of us? The reason why we do still life and body still life is because we need it in front of us for us to look at it. If it's not there, how are we going to know if we've drawn it right? Hi, Bev. Right, so all I'm doing now is adding a darker shadow, and I forgot to put select, didn't I? Because I was talking. Right, so I am adding a darker shadow here to the areas where it would naturally be darker, and I am going to keep this on the top. I'm not going to blend it and move it down because I like the folds. I don't want to ruin the folds, so I'm going to just kind of blend it so it definitely looks like a shadow. Yeah, Kyle, exactly. Yeah, taking pictures of things in different positions and light sources. Yeah, exactly. That's what you have to do. There is, even if you look back and you're looking at people like Van Gogh or Rembrandt or, you know, any of these people, they did studies for everything that they ever created. They didn't sit down one day and, you know, Da Vinci didn't paint the Last Supper without a reference. He never had all those people sat in front of him at the table in such a way, but he would have studied how people sit. He would have studied how people hold glasses. He would have studied all these different things so that when he finally puts it all together onto a canvas, he has so many references all around him. Because obviously they didn't have a camera, but they would have studied references for such a long time and built up a whole kind of portfolio of what it is they were trying to build. And it's exactly the same as now. Nobody can draw amazing from memory. We all need references. You know, we all need things to refer to, and that's just the way it is. And that's how people are able to paint. And if someone tells you they don't do that, I would be tempted not to believe them. I think there's a really big stigma with using references. It's just really silly. So I'm just blending. Am I on the right layer? Yes, I am. Whew, I thought I was on the wrong one. Let's just blend this out so that we have that lovely darker colour in there for the shadows. And we'll go here as well, because obviously it's going to fold over. And just blend it out. There you go. Right, well, I am happy with the clothes. Definitely happy with the clothes there. Let's put a bit extra here. And just drag that down a little bit. Let's move on to her headdress. So I'm going to stick to the same colours. These lines I'm going to use the yellow colours for. And I think I'll put the yellow stone in the centre. I'm not sure of the colour of the flower. We may go yellow. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So let's move over to a new layer. So I'm going to pick a layer up here now, because this is the foreground, this is the background, and my colours are now going to sit over the hair, because the hat is on the hair. This is how my brain works. So now I'm going to move over to here. I cannot select that anymore because we're fine, we don't need that. And I'm going to select my darkest colour again. And let's make these a little bit smaller so they're out of the way. Let's put them there. And now I'm going to fill the headdress in with this darker colour. Not worry about the flower. We'll deal with that afterward. Doesn't need to be around that because the flower sits on the hat. So we can cover that. Although that shouldn't be there. Oh, it's that. Let's get rid of that. And then come back. Same thing with the jewel at the front. No worries about that either. Just cover the whole thing. Bring it down the front. I suppose this was one of those situations where I could have just... I can't tap to fill because my lines are always on another layer. But if you want to make your life easier with a tap to fill area, you would have to outline it yourself, because my lines... it'd have to be something like that, and then you could drag it and put it in the middle. But to me, I like actually painting it. So I'm never really worried about that. I just leave that bit. So I'm going to clean up around the outside, because no matter what, that's going to have to be clean. And let's just bring that in and all the way around. And back down. Oh, I went a bit over there. fine around there. And of course, around the face has to be good as well, and that's all fine. This in the middle, we're going to ignore that. We don't need to worry about that for now. So now we're on to the headdress. It's going to be the same material. There won't be as many kind of loose folds the way it is here because of how it's sitting. So what I'm going to do is similar to this here, but then we'll decide if we can change it up if we think it's a little bit too boring or a little bit too uniform. So I'm going to alpha lock that into place, and I'm going to select that layer. Where are you there? And I'm going to come a layer above. So let me have a look at what colour did we use. That was my dark. We'll go with that one for now. And I'm going to come into the centre of these strips of material here and just lighten up the centre for now. And I'm going to follow the lines, so the direction, and then make it smaller if I have to, and just bring it down. You know, actually, can't talk. Kyle. If Kyle's still here, it just popped into my head then. Kyle, who is obviously watching the live stream, was one of the very, 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 very first people to ever try out any of my colouring pages. I asked in a colouring group 3 or 4 years ago now, and Kyle was the one that said, yeah, I'll try them out, I'll have a go. And yeah, I just think that's been a long time now. And maybe if it wasn't for Kyle's opinion on whether he liked them, or you know, any part of it, and helped with any ideas, yeah, that was all down to Kyle. It was only a couple of people, and Kyle was one of them. Honestly, I can't remember any of the others because they kind of came and went. But yeah, Kyle's always been there. So that's that colour. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go lighter again through the centre of that. So let's come up. Let's go to that one. A little bit lighter. And then we'll go again. And then down the middle of that one. That's better. Yeah, I just want a little bit more. If I'm thinking that the material is silk, if we remember how silk looks when light bounces off it, it's really shiny at the most taut sections. So if this is a scarf, a headscarf that needs to be wrapped, the most taut sections should be the centre. So they will be the bits that will have the light shining off it the most, is what I'm thinking in my brain. We'll know if it works out or not. And I'm going to go again. Right down the middle. And I still think I can go brighter than that as well. Maybe I should blend it, and then if we want to add a little bit more, we can. So one of the best things about Procreate is that it's used by both hands. On this side, you'll see that, oh yeah, you can see my hand. So I'm adjusting things on this side. I've got the size of my tool at the top, my colour picker in the middle, and then my opacity at the bottom. So I'm constantly using these to move around as I'm drawing. And the best thing with Procreate is how fast and reactive it really is. I forget that I'm using both hands. It doesn't even, you just get used to it. You don't even kind of realise. I actually think this will blend out really nice. So there are some blending tools built in, and I'll give you a quick look at them. I very rarely use blending tools because I like to do everything myself. So that's the headdress with all the colours added to it at the moment. So if I show you what some of these blending tools do, I am going to... Shall I merge down? Am I going to go wrong? I'll duplicate that. Turn that one off. And then we can see if it goes wrong. Yes, Kyle, you can touch your screen with both hands. Do whatever you want with them. You can use your fingers. So there's a 3-finger swipe. There's a double tap, which is a back. There's a 2 or a 3-finger tappy thing, but I can't remember that one. I don't always use them. I use the double tap and I use the copy and the paste. I can't remember the rest, to be honest. But there are other things it can do as well. Right, so if I show you what these kind of blend tools are. So we've got Gaussian blur here. This is probably the only one that I'll use. And this one, it's focused on this area. So you'll see that it blends out. It'll blend from, like, blends out to absolutely nothing. I find that if you're blending anything, please come back. Yeah, it's going to be right up here. 2%, 3%, 4% after that. So there's nothing left. There is a motion blur. I don't really know a lot about that one. What does that look like? Oh, it looks like in a photograph when everything goes a bit wobbly. So that's not suitable. Oh, go back. Go back. That's not suitable anyway. Get rid of that. Oh, Kyle, no, it can colour with your hand, with your fingers. Let's just get off that for a minute. Let's go here, go white. Yeah, it will look. The difference between using the pencil and your fingers is that you don't get all the benefits of the pencil. So with your finger, it's going to be one flat width space. You don't get any of the pressure. Let's find something with some pressure. Technical pen. So this is all one size, unless if you're using the pencil, if you see, the lighter I am, the thinner the pencil, the harder I push, the thicker the line. So you can use your finger instead of a pencil. You just don't get all the benefits of obviously being able to use the pencil from that. Right, let's get back. The last one is perspective blur. It's not going to work. I can't imagine it working well. So let's just try and... Let's go here. I don't want it that way. No, why aren't you working? Oh, there, look. I don't personally use the fixed. Get rid of that. Put it back. Yeah, I don't use the ones that come with it. I just blend everything myself. Right, so I'm going to drop it down, merge down. I am on alpha lock, so I can only do stuff inside, not outside, which is exactly what we want. I'm also going to select it just to make sure that my colours don't change with any of the other colours surrounding it. And I'm going to go in and blend each section myself. So I am at about 35, oh, wrong one, 35% brush opacity there. Because I do want it to blend out, but I really do want the middle to still have that highlighted strip. I probably will have to go in and like re-add that at the end just to make sure that it's nice and sharp. But yeah, we basically just want to make sure that we're going from light to dark, from the center of the strip outward. And the same on this side. And then we're just going to work. I'm also, as you can tell, I am moving the page around depending on the direction of my strip of material. So I'm going to blend along, because we know if it's curving over the head or moving round that we're following the different strips. So I'm going to follow this one this direction. So that needs to come down a bit. I'm just going to blend the outer bits out. And then the same on that side. Just bring that a little bit higher. I want it to be a bit darker down there. I think I'll add more of a shadow there afterward. And then I'm just going to blend this middle section out. And all I'm using is the round brush as my blend tool. The opacity is always down. I never have it high. And then all I'm doing is blending it up into the point of where the material, just before, because there's going to have to be some sort of a shadow there. And we just want it to be nice and smooth. So if we keep it going, the direction of the material, the same kind of pressure with the pencil, and I'm going to pull it a little bit further into that corner. Like that. There you go. So now that we have it from the front, that lovely stripe there of what looks like if it's a silk material. I'm not a fan of this one. What is going on here? Let's blend you out a little bit. Maybe that one needs a little bit more colour right down the middle. Just add that in there. Oof, that's really bright. Hang on, what have I done? Let's pick this one up. There you go. And let's put that back in, and then I'll blend that one out. There you go. There you go. Maybe if we just bend it round a little bit so it looks like it's actually on an angle. I will do this one. And basically I would just keep on going, obviously, until I've done each section. And if you go wrong and you don't like it, you've always got the back button. And worst comes to worst, you can just delete it. Just erase the layer, start again, or specifically just go in with the eraser and erase the bits you don't like. As I was saying on Thursday, the best thing about digital is that you're saved. Every time you go wrong, you can fix it. You can be so experimental. If you are right at the end of a painting and you're like, do you know what, I think this certain thing would look amazing, but you're scared to do it, you just put it on a separate layer. So if anything goes wrong, it's just on that layer. You can isolate your problems. Whereas once you've spent, you know, 6 hours actually painting or drawing something with pencils and you have this great idea at the end, you kind of sink or swim. It's either going to work or you're just going to have to start all over again. I've always been one of these people that just does things and then I regret it afterward. So digital's good for me. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only paper. And the other thing to think about when it comes to things like digital drawing or painting is that it is faster in some ways. But usually when I finished any of my drawings and then I paint them using Procreate, I've probably been doing it for maybe 15 or 16 hours. So yeah, it is a great thing to do. I absolutely love it. But it still takes a lot of practice and it still takes time. But it's definitely nowhere near as messy as it is when I get all my paints out. I'm just trying to bend this one out a little bit further. And I want to bring that line up and that line up. because we're definitely going to have a fold there. Whew, okay, right, there we go. That's the basics of the headscarf done. I'm going to go up another layer. Sorry, I'm just having a quick check in there. What time are we at, people? I've got something as amazing as an iPad and I can't find the time. Where's the time? Oh, 8:15. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on the layer above because I want to add some shadows. And I'm thinking of, this is all the different styles of layers have different purposes. So it'd be far too complicated to go into right now. What I'm thinking of, because silk has a lovely shine to it, I want to use a soft layer to add some shadows. So I'll show you what I mean. I think I'm going to go a little bit darker, but a bit richer. Select this. And I want to put a shadow along my lines. So I'm thinking there. And then I want to... what am I on the wrong one? I'm on the wrong layer. That one. There you go. Right. So the purpose of the soft layer is so that the colour from underneath still shines through. And it makes things look slightly metallic. So yes, it is darker, but you can still see some of the colours underneath. You can still see where the lighter parts are. You can still see, you know, where the lighter sections were, where we put that strobe down the middle. So I am just going to blend this edge. I don't want an edge. There you go, like that. So now if I pull back, if you're looking at where that overlapping in different sections, that's where I'm going to add that shadow. So I want one there. And just blend the edge. Oh, sorry, wobbly camera. If that one went that way, I need one, maybe that can be the under bit. So let's put one here. Let's go there, underneath. And then I want that off that bit. And then we can blend out here. I went too far. See how many times I use the back button? It's constant. Let's blend that line. So I just don't want it a hard line. And I need to make that one a bit darker. And blend that one. Blend that corner. And blend it out again. Just round that corner off a little bit. Okay. And then I think we need one here, but let's make it a bit thinner. Let's go underneath this bit here. And let's blend that. Blend the corner out. And then I think we should consider the shadows now in general. So I'm going to drop that down because I'm happy with that. Come back up again and then select it again. So that's the area we're still working on. And I'm thinking we should think about the fact... Let's make sure I actually change my layer again. Soft light there. Let's think generally about shadows. It's going to be darkest on these corners and on the edges. So let's just add that in. I'll tell you what there is. There's a little edge that I don't like. See this edge here? I don't like that line. Let's just blend that out a little bit. There you go. And that one. Yeah, okay. Right, so let's go back up, turn that one back on. And we're going to just add the shadows to the areas where we would just generally think, if we are the light bulb, we are looking directly at this girl here. So anything back, this is her forehead's going to be the lightest, and anything back and tucking around the sides is going to be the darkest. So let's add it to the sides and just make that a bit bigger. So no defining lines. Let's just blur that one out. Now we need to think about the fact we've got objects around this side. So this one does need some more shadows anyway. But you can see the reason why I use the soft light on my layer here is because this layer behaves as a soft light. It's not just like a flat colour. So it's making my lines change. My colour will change depending on what's going on underneath. So that's why I use this one for shadows, because it's not just going to be one flat colour everywhere. It's going to actually change depending on my underpainting. So let's just get rid of, I do not want these harsh lines. I know there will be shadows there, but I also know that the material silk doesn't hold harsh lines when you get shadows. It will obviously have shadows, but I don't think it has harsh lines on it. So let's just get rid of the lines, that's all. I'm happy for it to be darker, I just don't want the lines there. Just move it around as we go. And what is this business here? Is that me? Yes, that's me. So that's me not. I do not like that. Just bring it in. Okay, right, so that's that one done. I need to add more of a shadow here anyway because it's further away from the front. Bring that round. And then the only other thing we need to do is consider this at the front here. So I'm going to just drop this around the outside of my shape. And you can see that depending on where on the scarf this is sitting, the shadow is either darker or lighter depending on the material underneath, which is kind of how silk would react anyway. So let's just fill that in, and then I'm just going to blend the edges. I don't want harsh lines, that's all. Just blend those lines. And it's darker in these areas because already the scarf underneath is darker there. So it's just reacting with the painting that I've already created. It's layering over the top. So that is the headdress. And I actually think, let's take that shiny thing off. And I actually think that what's going on here, we now need to repeat down here. I think we definitely need this highlight showing up down here, and I think the shadow worked really well. It's definitely given it a metallic look. So let's drop this down. We'll go above, and now we're going to move back down to this end. So I'm going to select that, go one shadow above, and I'm back into my round brush, and let's see if we can remember what some of these colours were. So this is my history here. These are all the colours I've been using on the headdress. So you only get 3, 6, 9, you get like 10 slots here for history. If you think that you're going to use more and you need to keep a track of colours, do what I do. I literally just open up an empty layer, stick it at the top, and then I just add some of my colour palette to the top. So I'm just going to go in and I'm literally going to use the lightest one, and let's just see if we can add some highlights down here. So if we think like the headdress, right, we're thinking in silk now. This down here does not look like silk. It looks more like a cotton, whereas that does look like silk. So if this was a top that she was wearing and I'm the light bulb, where is the light going to cast? Now we do have artificial light to be fixing at the end, and this will be coming from our orb, but at the moment we are just thinking about, if we're the light bulb, what is it that's going to shine? So this is going to be silk. So I'm going to say across her shoulders like that, and then definitely in all of these lightest creases that we have, we need to add some of this highlight. There and there. And then, I mean, if we have to, we can go in again and do it again after we've blended, which we probably will do, because we want it to be quite sharp, because we all know how silk shines when it's got light on it. And even in these tiny bits here, that's too small. Let's go right into here and see if we can add some really small shiny bits, just so it looks like the silk's really kind of glowing. And we definitely need it here. Let's take it up to this side. Maybe just a bit there and a bit there. So I'm going to blend the same way I did at the top, and I'm going to follow my lines around. I think this needs to be brighter. Oh, there you go. Let's go there and there. Okay, so, and I'm going to blend on the top of this one, just so I can see what's happening. And I'm not 100% sure I'm going to like it, so let's just have a look. Let's just do it. Let's just drop it. Right, I'm going to duplicate that layer in case it goes wrong, which is what I've been telling you. I've now got 2 of these clothes layers at the bottom here, so if it goes really wrong, I have a spare. So let's turn that one on. Let's drop it down. We've got Alpha Lock on, and we're just going to go in and let's just try and make this look like silk. So let's blend this one out. I'm going to go in a little bit further, and then let's see if we can just blend this out. I think if we're going to be adding this light to make it look really metallic, I think we're going to have to add the soft shadow layer too. So let's keep it like that, and then we'll have a look. Which is, Kyle's right. I mean, he's just said you would be able to back and add more up. You wouldn't be able to add the extra highlights on paper. Yeah, exactly. To a certain extent, you know, you could use Posca pen, which I absolutely love. They're like my own back button on paper. If I go wrong, you just get the Posca pen out and just like go over the top and hope no one can see it. But yeah, you are limited on things that you can change and you can do. I mean, if I decided I really hate this colour palette out of nowhere, I could just change the colours like that. So that's definitely a plus. Right, let's see if we can blend and just get some shine on this. Just bring it round the same way we did when we were doing the headscarf. It's just lots of blending, making sure that, I mean, ultimately the lessons that we're learning here about directional blending or directional paint strokes is something that you would learn or you would need if you were doing traditional painting or acrylic, or, you know, whatever it is that you wanted to do, pastels. So to some degree they're kind of lessons that you can learn and use with different media. But yeah, obviously digital definitely does have extra benefits, especially as an illustrator, because depending on how much work you've done for a client, if you're creating illustrations for a book, for example, you could spend hours and hours and hours and hours hand drawing, hand painting for the client to say, oh, it's lovely, but can I do it can you do it in green? No. because that's just taken me 30 hours and I'm going to have to do the whole thing again in green. Whereas digital, it could still take you 30 hours, but if they want to see it in green, it's so much easier to change. So when you're working professionally, it's definitely good to be digital, even if it's just at the beginning. You may want to produce all of the actual illustrations by hand, which is perfect. But at the beginning, when you're coming up with ideas, you're coming up with colours, I do think digital is the best. So now you can see, you see how these highlights are working down here. And I think with a soft layer above it for the shadows, I think it will really make it look more like a metallic material. Just blend it out, blend it out, blend it out. There and there. There you go. Whew. Just the other half to do. So I'm obviously just repeating what I've done on the other side, but we are doing different shapes. It's not going to be the same. It's not symmetrical. And I'm aware that some of my highlights are going into the shadows, which are not realistic. Don't worry, we are going to fix that. Does that go a bit blurry, that one? Let's blur the edge rather than the middle of it. And I did not know what was I drawing here. What was this meant to be? Let's put that back. I don't like whatever that was meant to be. And add that there. And then we'll just reblend that. So I am working on a new book. For later on in the year. I have quite a lot of stuff going on this year though. I've got some new products coming out. I'm not allowed to tell you what though. It's like the worst thing is asking me to keep a secret, but when it comes to work you have to, especially when I'm signed into contracts and I can't get out of them. But I absolutely hate not being able to tell people what's going on. I think you will all be really happy by it. But yeah, I can't say anything at the moment. I'll still be creating colouring books. That will always be happening. But I do have some new products coming out in the near future. Nearly there. Nearly there, nearly there. Just a few bits left. So the other thing I do, which you can see, is I don't just, the best thing with digital is going straight in. You can zoom in, you can move it. And I know a lot of people do the same thing as I do. They move their pages round as they're colouring, and I do that, which is why I do it with my iPad. Kyle, yeah, I was thinking about a new Christmas book, but I don't want it to be just Christmas themed. I have to have an idea. So I did the traditional type of Christmas colouring book. I've done the very traditional one, which is one of the first books I ever did. That's way back in the library, but you know, it's full of angels and Santa Claus and that kind of thing. And then I did the like a Darling Christmas, which was out a few years ago. And I have to make sure I have a different idea because I'll get bored. I can't just kind of recreate images. So if you have any suggestions for me, I come up with something. I don't know, maybe I could do like, I don't know, like a Christmas on location or something. I don't know, Christmases across the world. That might be a good one to show how Christmases are celebrated across the world, maybe. yeah, I need some ideas. I can't just do like a normal Christmas present type, because I've already done that one. So I need some better ideas. Okay, so that's where we are. All I'm going to do is add that shadow layer under a soft light, which made it look a little bit metallic. So I've added my layer. I'm going to come down and turn it to a soft light, and then I'm going to try and remember what colour I used. Was it that one? I don't know, let's have a look. Selecting my layer because that's the one that I want to use, and my alpha lock is on, and I'm on the soft layer, and yes, it was. Let's just add those shadows back in again so that it still looks like it's metallic, like a metallic material. Oh, Bev, card making kits. Yeah, do you know what? You have to tell me a little bit more about that, because I don't know a lot about card making in general. So I have stamps out. A company called That's Crafty had some of my stamps out. I don't know how long they're available for through them, because it just depends on how much stock they've got. So I'm not entirely sure. I kind of put feelers out there, and I did a little bit of digital stamps on my Etsy shop. So I did that. They still sell, but I don't know what would you want included in a card set. I don't know anything about this. So if you could send me some ideas, tell me what you would want in these card making kits, then yeah, it might be a possibility. I just don't know myself, so you have to let me know what would go in them. So you can see the difference between that side and that side. The shadows are definitely darker on this side, but it's not massively overpowering. And even when you do put it down, it does seem to give like this, I don't know how it does it. It just gives like this kind of soft kind of glow. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe that's just what I see. But yeah, I like just changing my layers to different effects. Let's just add that to the kind of darkest areas. I think it needs to go here. That one. And we can just blend that out a little bit. Maybe there. And there. We'll just blend that out. So now our material doesn't look like flat polyester. Now it does have like a shine to it. Let's turn that off so you can see that. If you're looking in now at this headdress that's on there, you can see the shadows, and then obviously where the light is bouncing off this kind of silky material, and that's what I've done down here as well. So it's all, although that bit didn't blend very well, did it? Let's do that. Yeah, there you go. So now it looks more like a silk. Yeah, Bev, just let me know, because I don't know a lot about it. Oh, this is my new iPad, Kyle. So this is an iPad Pro 4, maybe? And it's 11 point something inch screen. So I have two iPads. I have my older one, which is an iPad Pro 2. This is the 4. I can actually show you the difference in sizes because I'm using both screens at the moment. So I have my phone above looking down, so you can see what I'm working on. And then I'm using my other iPad so that I can kind of talk to you on it. If I can fit them in side by side, maybe. This is one screen to the other. I don't know if you can see that. So let's move her over a little bit more. Yeah, this is the difference in screen sizes. The one on the left is my older one, and I think it's 9.5, and then the one that we're using to draw with now is 11. I think it might be 11.5. It feels absolutely huge. going from my smaller iPad, it feels massive, but that's exactly why I wanted it. I was struggling with having such a small screen. Not struggling, I suppose, but I basically just wanted a bigger screen, so I was just being spoiled. I just wanted a bigger screen, so I invested into the next iPad, which is this one. I think it's 11 point something size. It does look huge, Kyle, I know, but it's so pretty though. I absolutely love it. It's just so big and it's pretty. I like it. Right, so we don't need that. Okay, so I have no idea what the time is. Let me check again. Where are we? Ah, we're cool. We've got a bit of time yet. So let's do this stone in the center here. Now, I don't have a particular way of how you should or shouldn't create 3D stones. I know there are some artists out there that are really good at this. I don't think I'm one of them. So I will just do the way that I would normally do it. So we're going to go up higher because this is our foreground, this is our background, so we're working forward. And I always leave, if you see here, I always leave spaces in between my layers. It's purely so I don't get lost, because I'm always making mistakes or going wrong, so I always put them in there. Let's colour it with this flat yellow colour that we picked earlier. And then when we can go from there and decide what we like and what we don't like. So this is the flat colour, and it is very, very flat. Let's just see what we like and what we don't like. So if the centre stone should be flat, do you think all the smaller gems around the outside should be yellow? Not flat, yellow. Talking a completely different language. I think so. So I am going to turn my drawing assist on, because I know that this is symmetrical, because you can see my line because I drew it. And I'm just going to go around filling all of these circles in. And it will help me save time having to go around doing it all one at a time with drawing assist. And obviously, because I've brought us, our layers are further up, we're now colouring on top of our layers in the background, which is why I always think about the foreground and the background and where would those layers be sitting. Now it's a bit harder when we can't see, so I'll just turn that colour off for a minute so we can see what we're doing. There you go. Now that line is going to drive me mad, so I'm going to have to fix that, but that does mean it got past me in the books. Let's turn that off. It does mean that there is going to be a slight overlap here of those lines, because I obviously didn't see that. Whew, okay, so that's our background on. We need to fix whatever's going on here. Turn that off now. Let's fix this. And basically just the bits we can see all the way around that might have slightly gone over any lines anywhere. We might as well fix it whilst we're here. And the same goes down here. So this rim around here is not going to be yellow. I will change that, but I'll change it a little bit further down the line. So now we need to think about how we're going to make this object here look 3D. And I really wish I had a reference, because I don't have one and I'm going to have to make it up. So let's think about that. If we're looking at where the light bulb is going to be brightest in the center and darkest as it hits the outsides. So I'm going to alpha lock that. I'm going to select my layer, and then I'm going to move up. And I think, let's try this in soft light to start off with. I'm not sure. No, maybe not. Let's go normal, and then we'll add that afterward. So I'm going to come down and just get some of the, I'm just going to get a darker tone of what we had. And I'm going to go around the outside edge, and I should have turned drawing assist on, Kelly. There. Okay, right. this is what we're working with at the moment, and now we're just gonna, let's blend that out. And then I'm gonna go back in. Let's, sorry, I'm still trying to decide how best to do this. I think it needs to be brighter, doesn't it? Let's bring that one in. See if we can mix these colours a little bit. See how we're going to make this look 3D. I should have got a reference, but I didn't. Okay, alright, well, let's get in there. Let's go back in and just blend it again. And then I think we need to go a bit darker, and we'll go again. I like the darker colours around the outside, definitely. Maybe we can bring a little bit more, just a lighter base into the middle. Right, let's see if we can blend that. So you can obviously see that I don't plan these things. You do gems the way I do bubbles. Oh, do you? Maybe I'll have to look at that as well. I definitely need to work on my gems. Definitely. Right, let's put that one there. And see how that one goes. Blend that out again. Okay, right, I'm going to go and I'm going to add another darker layer around the outside. I like the gems that people do with, they've got like, you know, like the lines through the middle, like garnet and things like that. Maybe should we try that? I need a reference, don't I? Should we get a reference? Okay. What would they be called? Amber? Amber stone. Oh, okay, alright. Wow. Yeah, mine's definitely not going to be as good as these, because these are real, but we just need some ideas, don't we? Oh, I like that one. I'll tell you what, let's just go with that. I'm just going to add that to my photos. And then Procreate allows you to add references. So if I can remember how to do this. Reference. Image. Import, and we'll go there. There you go. Right, so let's, can I move you? Yeah, let's move that down. Okay, right, so we've got a bit of a reference now. Oh, I'm sorry, my camera's well off, isn't it? Is that better? There you go, okay. Right, so let's just put that there for now, and then we'll see what we can do. I'm going to go to a layer above then, turn that into that one. Let's move over a little bit. You just see what kind of happens. Let's bring this in so you can see it. Alright, so if we just add, and then let's go again. quiet because this is, I don't know what I'm doing. We're just seeing what happens. Let's bring them in there. Okay, right, so I need to have another layer, and maybe we do it with this one and get some orange in there. I don't want it to be too overpowering. I still want it to be yellow, so maybe more like that. And then let's change to a pen. Maybe something. I have no idea if this is... I know it's not going to be the same. I think we need more colour maybe. Can I get that? Is that going to work? Yeah, there you go, look. Oh, I don't like that one. I don't think I like this layer now. Okay, let's just put some more of these in and then just see what happens. So I'm probably going to blend it anyway because I just have to blend everything. But no, they don't work. Okay, right, let's just blend that out a little bit. Yeah, Bev, that's a good idea. For the new book with the star signs, you could draw each one as a different birthstone. Well, I have already done the zodiac darlings that already go with that, but I may be able to maybe bring them in and change it slightly so that that would fix. I've got to fix that layer because I hate it now. Let me get rid of that. I hate that. Ugh. This is why I should plan. It's that dark. It's that darkness around the outside that I don't like anymore. I'm going to fix that. So there's that bit. Let's go look at this one again. I do not like that outer layer. So let's make it more like that. So I'll select it, go back to my painting tool, and I'm going to just try and blend away that outer edge. There you go. That might have been a bit hard. Let's blend that out. Alright, now let's see what that looks like. Let's add some more orange. Nope, that's the wrong colour. That one. Maybe a little bit darker again. And then I think once we've added a few, maybe like some highlights. It's not very good, let's be perfectly honest. But I suppose at least it's not flat anymore. Although I don't think it looks particularly 3D. I'm going to have to fix that as well. Okay, right, I'm stopping there. Otherwise I'll be doing this all night. I'll never be happy with it. Okay, so now I need to make the centre look as if it's looking towards us more. So I'm going to add like a centre spot. Let's blend that out a bit more. And then let's come up, turn that down, and then let's get some airbrushing on there, see if we can bring it forward. So maybe, oh, that's a horrible colour. Maybe that one. And then let's see if we can blend that maybe. Turn it down. Okay. Drop them together and see what we think about that. No, don't like it, don't like it, don't like it. Maybe try some of this. Okay. There you go. We may be able to add a bit of a sparkle, but that's going to be more of a last minute thing because it needs to sit on top of all the layers. So we can add, let's have another look at that one again and do that again. Bring that down and round. No, 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 there and there. Right, I think I'm going to have to stop, otherwise I will do this forever. Okay, so that's what we're going to use for the gem. It's definitely not as good as it could have been, but I'm absolutely not prepared. So we're going to go with that. So all these outside layers here essentially are supposed to be tiny mini versions of this one, which is never going to happen. So what I'm going to do is, let's pick a darker colour. Let's select that so we can run all the way around the outside and colour them all in one go. Like that. And then I can build up from there so we can get to a nice kind of bright centre of each one. Right, we don't need that anymore. If I do this, why don't I have drawing assist on? I don't know what this dark colour is. What is that? Oh, it's that. Okay, well, we've got to get rid of that. Oh, there you go. Just had a bit of overlapping going on, and up here. Okay, right, so this is where I am. And all I'm going to do is create a bright spot in the centre of each of the little gems. Oh. There you go. And then I need to go brighter again, and I'm just going to go to the highest one at this point so we can kind of move on to the next stage. Although to be fair, it still needs a bit of white right at the centre. Let's find my luminance again, and let's go bright white in the middle. So that when we pull back, it should look like there's a light directly in front of it. There you go. So you can see from a distance now that that's what our gem is looking like. And we didn't even get to having to do these ones. And I'm sick of yellow gems now. Maybe I can cheat. Let's duplicate that and move it. Yeah, I reckon we can cheat. Let's put that there. And see if we can just nick it and put it into those spots there. There you go. And then we can just add a light spot to each one. So it saves me having to do it twice or 3 times, or how many other times I've got to do it. And then all we have to do is add the light spots. So I'll do this side, and then I can duplicate it again and move it over to the other side. So there's those ones done. If I duplicate that and move it, there you go. And drop that down, and then we can just add a light spot. So I'm going to go here. Oh, that's too bright. Here and here. Well, actually, should we just go straight down the middle? There you go. If that looks a bit too bright, we can just dim that down a little bit. And I think that is done. Let's merge those layers down, and there you go. That is the gem done. Yeah, being able to duplicate and move things and manipulate things around is always brilliant, especially if you've spent so long, you know, just doing that and then having to repeat it so many times. It's easy just to be able to move things around. Okay, so I'm just going to double check the time. We're at 9 o'clock. I should really be stopping about now. I think the last thing I'll do, just so that maybe we can get rid of using this gold a little bit more, if I literally just do these earrings, and I'll show you how I add a spark to the earrings so you can see what I do. And then we will call it a night. So I'm going to put my drawing assist on because it's symmetrical. Go to my painting, and I need to pick up some of these colours again. So I want this nice bright yellow. And I am in the foreground, my hair's in the background, so I'm just going to be, I can go straight on the top. So let's just get these earrings put in. So as usual, I fill the area in completely flat, no worries about any shades or different colours yet. I'm keeping it clean because it's right in the foreground. So if I pull back from there, because I had symmetry on, it's done on both sides. Right now, so if I select that layer and I go above, it means I can mess about with this layer and it will not be affected anywhere else. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to correct that yellow. I'm not a fan. I prefer that yellow. And I need to turn my drawing assist on. And from this point, what we're doing is we're looking for where our light's going to hit, and I'm going to deliberately choose my light to be here. So on both sides of the face, it will be here and here. So all we have to do is work from our darkest point there, and we're just going to keep moving forward while we build up to the lightest part where the light will be hitting off. Actually, that needs to be dragged down further over this way, and that one there. Might even go a little bit darker for there and there. Bring that one, and then bring that one into the corner, and then I've obviously got a light space there, and I'm going to go right in to make that bit the brightest here. So I'm going to blend them slightly because we don't want any hard lines. Let's bring that down first, merge down, alpha lock, and then we can blend safely. So blend that out, that out. Am I still on drawing assist? Yeah. And the same that side and that side. Bring it out and bring it out. So the last thing that we're going to do is go bright white here. So you can see how it's gone from darkest to lightest. Now I actually think we can go darker here. Let's go a bit darker. And then I also like adding like these stripes all the way around it, because it looks like the way like gold earrings are. They tend to have like these metally ditches in them. And then I can pick up my lightest and then go slightly back into those metal kind of ridges that it has. There and there. And then bright white, move it out a little bit more. And then just blend out these ridges just slightly. And then the last thing that I do, and this is literally the last thing, so this is even above my line art, it's something that I will add at the very end, but I'm going to do it now. It is using the luminance pen. I still want a bright yellow. So it's similar to what I did here. I'm going to add, I forgot to put duplicate on again, drawing assist, and it's this level that I want to select and use, but I'm using it up here. So I'm going to add, no, it doesn't work, does it, like that? I can't have that. Turn it off. Let's go again. Yeah, there we go, look. So I'm just building up this glow here. So now she has this lovely kind of twang of light hitting off her earrings. And eventually I'd do the same thing. Well, not on both sides, but I would do the same thing up here. Pick a spot. And then you can really drag out the way that the light hits it. So I'm going to leave that there. We are over 4 hours into this drawing now. Oh, colouring, which I said it always takes a long time, because it just does. Even though it's digital, it still definitely takes a long time. So yeah, that's where we're going to leave it today. I will schedule for the third part and put it back up into the group so everybody can see. And hopefully I'll see you all guys there at part 3. So thanks very much for dropping in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming over, and thanks for asking me any questions. In the meantime, if you have any other questions, save them up for part 3 and I'll be able to answer all of them. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great Sunday evening. See you later.